Hello, everybody, and welcome to Sakaguchi's Lost Odyssey, his follow-up to Blue Dragon. Fortunately, this one is much better, so I can tell you that.
Can we play with the Robinsons?
Eventually, too. Eventually.
Well, you told me that it's not worthy, but
it's not. It's not. Maybe one day we'll make a let's look at it, but that's the top of it. Go on.
I guess we could say Sakaguchi lost his Odyssey, but found it again with this game.
Okay.
So, would you call this his best game?
And guess what? Just like Blue Dragon, Lost Odyssey does not have a title screen. Well, okay. Technically, okay. To be fair, this is an improvement over the Blue Dragon Lost title screen because the title is actually in it. So there is that. So it is an improvement. But man, it's still a boring title screen.
That's a thing.
Like
anyway,
the font, the spacing of the letter. This is distracting as shit.
So like I asked, would you call this Sakaguchi's best game?
No, his best game is Final Fantasy VI. Well, technically didn't direct that, I guess.
What Joe meant was post Final Fantasy.
Oh, post Final Fantasy, yes, definitely. All right, we're gonna let the title screen idle for a bit, so we can, yeah, but well, the music is done by Nobuo Uematsu, so.
Yeah. I can tell you, Drova, that you're in for a wild ride because the music in this, particularly the music in this game, goes all over the place. And I mean in a good way for once.
Okay.
Didn't Nobuo Uematsu also do the music for Blue Dragon too?
Yes. Well,
yes, apparently he got the vocalist of Deep Purple for.
He's the John Williams to Sakaguchi Spielberg.
Anyway,
although apparently it's not going to be that way for much longer, unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately, Nobuo's health problems are starting to really become a problem.
Oh no, Anime Velma!
Basically, this is the opening movie you get if you let the title screen idle.
Which I guess was used for one of the trailers.
Probably.
Oh, I am getting heavy Final Fantasy X vibes from these.
Unlike Blue Dragon, which was much more like a kids anime, Lost Odyssey is much more akin to Sakaguchi's later Square Enix work, which the art style is a bit more realistic, the tone is more mature and more aimed at adults.
That's because he actually was, since he was a friend with Akira Toriyama, and he did the Blue Dragon. Sakaguchi was also a friend with another mangaka, the name escapes me unfortunately, which is the author of instead another great manga series called Vagabond, and he did the concept art for everything in this game, and as such the character design reflects that, and since even Vagabond reflects a more slightly photorealistic style, it's kind of more logical that the characters will look like that.
Basically, the Lost Odyssey is a story about immortal beings and what are the ramifications of being a being that lives for 1,000 years, both the good stuff and the bad stuff, especially the bad stuff.
So things look a bit desperate.
Well, it's a traditional Japanese RPG, so you can expect the world-ending stuff very soon.
Got no use for the past.
And there you go. That's your.
Now that's an actual board title. Why didn't we use that?
There's your logo.
Seriously, what's up? What's up with Sakaguchi's post Final Fantasy stuff and shitty title screens?
It seemed like he had a weird sense of minimalism in some of the presentation.
1,000 years of dream.
We'll get to that, Dweebs, don't worry.
I'll explain what that is later, Dweebs, when it becomes relevant.
Hey, the menu looks like the one Final Fantasy IX.
And yes, this game was dubbed in 5 languages.
Yeah, not Spanish though.
Fun fact too, much like Final Fantasy 16, the English voice acting is the first one. The Japanese audio is the dub.
I know that because one character, which I don't think even we meet either in this part or the next, had all of his dialogue improvised by the voice actor. And apparently they chose someone who has a theater experience.
Yes, theater experience.
Similar to what they did with 12.
Yeah.
12,
remember they were trying to appeal to what's known as, because it's Xbox in the first place, and so one particular idea way of doing that was to make sure that the English voice acting would be the default one, to make sure there's no lip syncing issues and stuff like that. Kind of like what they did with Ni no Kuni 2 as well. Okay, so Lost Odyssey starts in the middle of a battlefield torn by war.
It was a murky rain.
Well, okay. Yes, Sakaguchi went... Yeah, this is something that Sakaguchi also did compared to Blue Dragon. He decided to go for a more gritty art style to reflect what was the Xbox 360's audience at the time.
To be fair, I'll give him credit. He had a good sense of variety. You know, Blue Dragon for the more peppy, cartoonish look that, you know, was more reminiscent of stuff like Dragon Ball, to this, which was definitely reminiscent of what Final Fantasy was doing at the time.
Yes and no, because Final Fantasy at the time still was very colorful, you know, even stuff like 10.
No. I'm talking about the realistic aesthetic, not so much the color scheme.
Especially also because, you know, Blue Dragon also had the problem with a bit of saturation.
I'd say Blue Dragon was still more colorful, but that was kind of the point. Man, the Keyblade Wars were rougher than I thought.
Keeping up with the tradition of Japanese RPGs at the time, we still have pre-rendered CGI cutscenes here and there. However, this was around the time where in-game graphics were starting to get really good to the point where they didn't need as many as they needed back in the PS1 and PS2 days.
You'll actually see because they tried to make it a point with this initial cutscene.
Yep.
Imagine a plot point that in-game graphics don't look as good as the CGI cutscenes.
Not necessarily a plot point, but you'll see it, don't worry.
This game is actually, as people have noticed, I'm playing this game on the Xbox One via backwards compatibility. The backwards compatible version improves the frame rate for a more consistent 30 FPS compared to the Xbox 360. And since it's the digital version, it has all 4 discs in and no need for disc swapping. Because the original 360 release came on, count them, 4 discs.
Yeah. Basically what this initial battle tells you, Joe, is that one side is more versed in magic while the other is more technological.
Hell, even Final Fantasy...
that some soldiers can literally just get up from death.
And here's our protagonist.
Kaim Argonar, our protagonist, yes. He will be played by 2.
That sounds like a Final Fantasy name, alright.
More Drakengard, actually. Kaim is the name of the protagonist of the first game.
Cute. So cool.
Yeah. Trust me. Kaim.
It's not a face, Mom.
Oh, trust me. Kaim is a great protagonist, I assure you.
He's so awesome, he don't even need a full set of armor.
Well, that's the thing, Jova. As I've told you, he is immortal, so obviously he would be the army's best asset in this one.
Whoop.
There we are.
We transition to gameplay.
Pretty smooth. Good job, guys.
Okay, that
for a 360 title, that was pretty neat. Again, Final Fantasy XIV also will try to do something similar to this.
Okay, so that's the interesting thing too. Even Final Fantasy XIII was able to fit in 3 discs, but this one took 4. Okay, so Final Fantasy, so Lost Odyssey is a traditional Japanese RPG. By that I mean traditional as fuck. The battle system is super duper 100% turn-based with no ATB gauge to be found here. And it's very basic. You have your attack, your defense, your skill use your abilities, item, and that's literally it. It's as basic as it gets. However, the execution is excellent, and as a result, perfect. Again, so if you're like me and you grew up playing these kinds of games, this is right up your alley. If you have an Xbox console, trust me, this is a must.
It also has something. It's not showcased here, but it has something you will see later. For other attacks, and particularly later in the game for regular attacks, the characters will have to perform some sort of QTEs in order to actually execute them. That's more of a remnant of the games that the people have worked on this game but were part of this Walker War before. Namely, The Legend of Dragoon and Shadow Hearts, which have similar gimmicks.
There's also the fact that, if it helps you... the QTEs can be ignored if you don't care about it. They're most.
No, that's what I mean. They try to spice things up by having an element of something that they worked before.
So yeah,
I think I get the purpose. I think I get the purpose of this game. Since Final Fantasy was not yet on Microsoft systems, I believe that would be a thing that would start with Final Fantasy 13. This is essentially the way for the Xbox crowd to have their own Final Fantasy in pretty much everything
Mm-hmm.
that name.
You may notice there's a gauge in the top right corner of the screen. The game itself will explain what that is via the tutorial, so I'll just wait for the game to get to it. And you also notice there that in the bottom left corner we have the Final Fantasy X style turn thingy that tells us who plays next.
So would I just be safe in assuming that this game plays like Final Fantasy X, or is there more to it than that?
You can say it is, yeah. 10 was also fully turn-based with no ATB gauge. But yeah, that's basically. So yeah, as you can see, Kaim is a fucking literally a one-man army because, like I said, he's immortal. He literally cannot die. So obviously, that means he's a big asset to the kingdom's army.
However, Drovat, the way this is reflected in gameplay, is only zigzagged, as in you can still get KO'd, but characters who are considered immortals in this game do have something particular to them that's different from others. No, you didn't play it because Tales of Destiny had something similar to this with the character who had Swordians.
I'm guessing the idea is like they have a spiritual core or something that can get damaged in battle.
You'll see eventually, Joe, don't worry.
Sure.
Trust me, this is a game that I've been wanting to do for a long time, but I never got the opportunity. But fortunately, the opportunity arose recently, so let's do it.
I will say, it's got a good first impression. Pretty great
Yeah,
cutscene, and the in-game graphics aren't too much down.
quite the contrast from Blue Dragon, huh? That immediately starts with annoying voice acting from the English cast. Again, not a jab at them. Terra Strong is great, of course. Who doesn't love Terra Strong? But man, the voice direction in that game was god awful.
No, doesn't love her, but that's
Anyway, though, I mean, like, to give Blue Dragon some credit, at least the visuals weren't all too bad at the start. Like, it had some things going for it, but no, I'll admit, this one is the complete full package. Pretty good, especially, again, in a technical showcase. I have to give it credit. These are pretty good in-game graphics for the generation.
Oh no! The game actually looks really good. Again, for the console that it's in.
I wonder, is any of these touch-ups from the digital backwards compatibility of the Xbox One?
No. The only thing the backwards compatibility version does is upscales the resolution to 1080p compared to the 360 720p, and applies VSync. I think probably some anti-aliasing here.
It speeds also the loading times.
The load times are sped up, and of course the frame rate is far more good. The original game targets 30 FPS, but the frame rate can be a bit choppy here and there. Fortunately, when you play it on the Xbox One, and I'm assuming the series consoles probably have a flawless 30 FPS. I've looked into emulating the game on Xenia for a potential 60 FPS experience. However, if you unlock the frame rate, it breaks the game's logic here and there, so it's not really recommendable.
So for all intents and purposes, the game always looks this good graphics.
Oh no, trust me, like this...
It just looks a bit... in the original 360, if I understand correctly, it just has a bit of drag sometimes. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how Kaim deals with a war machine.
Exactly.
That still counts as one!
Oh, right.
But then, as our hero is about to get surrounded, something happens.
God.
God is not pleased with you, Kaim. You're immortal. You're cheating, so I will destroy you.
Oh, it looks like the Calamity. Oh my god, the Calamity from 14 was a few years early.
There you go.
Someone literally drops meteors on the early battle.
Damn it, you dropped it on the wrong place.
Remind me, what's the name of the god from Final Fantasy XIV's universe?
Okay, the responsible that did the Calamity was actually Bahamut.
Oh, okay. Bahamut! Wrong game!
So is it both sides getting decimated, or just the one side against
everybody.
One big theme of also this game, war crimes.
Yeah.
I love them.
The game is gonna explain what this is, don't worry.
Come on, Kaim. Shed that one single sex.
And there you go, we even have an explosion and everything. And yeah, Kaim is the only survivor.
And everyone died.
Except Kaim, because he's
The
immortal.
beginning.
I got better.
Yeah.
And look at that, now God is pleased right now. Okay, you know what? You're kinda cool, I guess, so never mind. Oh shit, I killed everybody, didn't I? Well, it's okay. It's okay, guys. I'm God. I'm totally allowed to do this.
Because they were invested by lava, literally melted to the bone.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, being an immortal sounds like a pretty cool deal. You get to be a badass who kills an entire army.
And you survive lava, too.
And an explosion.
Congrats,
What's
you're
the
a video
rating of
game
B16
character.
or 18?
Wait, was this rated M?
That's what I wanted to know.
I don't think so. I think it
I
was.
don't think there are swearing words. So
No,
that's
not really.
went to
Not
the level
really.
of
No.
violence.
The artist you were talking about too is Takehiko Inoue.
Yeah.
Oh, what a way to start our game! Through the remnants of a battlefield with all them corpses.
Yep.
Basically, Trevor, the level layout works exactly the way of 10. You have slightly big areas, like, chain with one another with particular gimmicks that you can use.
There's no, unlike Blue Dragon, there's no world map. Instead, every time you leave a town or a dungeon, you just select your next local destination off a list. Again, I don't have a problem with that, honestly, as long as the levels. It's kind of like for example, compared to like Final Fantasy 16, for example, compared to 7 Rebirth and 15 is not open world, right? But the developers took advantage of that to make sure that the dungeons and the locales are all handcrafted. They all have a handcrafted feel to it. They're very purposely designed, compared to a more open world, which is of course a bit more, for lack of a better word, fillery in its design.
And yeah, you'll also hear, Drova, Nobuematsu decided to go all the way out by referencing all ages of the music. The victory theme is now using very old themes.
Yeah, and the Victory Fanfare's melody is super, super extra. Okay.
It's funny how we go from happy melodics to this somber scene.
That being said,
even the battle theme is very somber in the music that it's used.
That being said, despite its more linear level design, the game still has side content as well as a lot of NPCs in towns to explore. So again, it executes the whole linearity much better than what Final Fantasy XIII did. Okay, so we got a ring. Let's view the target ring system tutorial. To trigger the target ring system, you need rings, as in equipment. After you equip your characters with rings, the attack command will bring up the target ring automatically.
Cool.
Think of this as this game's equivalent of what the Paper Mario games do, basically.
Yeah, kind of.
The target ring battle system adds assorted abilities to your normal attack with weapons. While the target ring system is activated, the target ring and time count will be displayed when you choose the attack command. When the time count starts, hold down the right trigger and release it when the outer ring is directly over the target ring. So basically, time it properly. If your timing is right, your attack will be completely effective. Perfect is the best result. You can do bad, you can do good, and you can do perfect. If the time runs out or your timing was poor, your result will be bad, and you will not achieve any additional effects. So you don't need to do these quick time events if you don't want to. They only grant additional damage and effects. They're not actually required to play the game. So if you don't care about them, you can just ignore them. You can achieve additional effects with the target ring system depending on the ring you equip. You can choose your ring according to your situation. No thanks, no game. I got it.
So I see that our enemies are Kent soldiers.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently they're monsters underneath that armor.
It's more of a case of the resulting magic discharge of what happened has turned the corpses into, potential enemies sometimes.
In the meantime,
even before they were corpses.
In the meantime, I switched to my New Game Plus file. Basically, as you can see, you have a lot of rings. A ring that has Heavenly Stone, some of them give status effects. Again, if you've played any RPG, you know exactly what the spiel is. Again, the gameplay literally, okay, technically there's not really anything new or groundbreaking to the gameplay of this game, but the game makes up for it with excellent execution of the concepts. It's a game that is simple in gameplay, but very well designed and impeccably executed. So again, it's not. In fact, quite a lot of people back when the game first came out did say that the game was a bit, like way too old or way too traditional, which is something that the entire RPG community just thinks. So what?
Was it that stint where people were going, well, how would the old in with the new now?
Remember, Jova, this was, end of the 2000s, early 2010s, in which there was this mentality, including in Japan, that, turn-based RPGs were basically part of a past, and that everything needed to be actionized in order to be, successful or, appeasing to the audience.
I thought it was going to be a bit more hardcore, where it's like if you fuck up
Like taking
that
candy
thing then
from
at the end, the damage would bounce back and it would hit yourself.
Also important to note, because probably we won't be shown that much here, the way the leveling up system works is also interesting, because each character can level up when the bar of experience that they have reaches 100.
Yep.
It's not like a case where they require more experience points the more they level up. It's always 100, but to compensate that, in relation to the level that they add to the opponents, they gain a corresponding amount of experience points. So if you're 2 over level, you only get 1. So it will have to grind a lot if you're if you are fighting a low level area.
Interesting. So this is the kind of game that frowns upon trying to get easy farming by coming back to earlier locations.
Sure. Alright, so we're in the Highlands of Ol, edge of Wasteland. So basically we're trying to get back to our back home now that we're victorious in the war.
Yes. Wouldn't the interesting twist be if it turns out that all the soldiers on our sides were artificial beings, so turns out our side won in every sense of the word?
What was that line, Jova, in episode... I forgot if it was episode 1 or 2 of Sonic Boom, where they don't have anything, because they're robots and they have no souls. What was the line? Something along those lines?
I think so. Well, since I've seen the earlier episodes.
I think you also notice is that ever since the fight has been over, and even then, even during the fight, he didn't say much. Kaim hasn't really said a single word yet.
Well, don't worry, he will. Kaim is obviously...
I think it's supposed to be at more of a point.
Yeah, Kaim is as you're going to see later, Kaim is a guy who has lived for 1,000 years, and he's at a point where he is literally just done. Like at this point, his life is very apathetic, and he's basically going through the motions. One thing that I will say that actually is not an improvement over Blue Dragon is the fact that the random battles are back. Which is, Blue Dragon took the Chrono Trigger approach, and I kind of wish this game did the same thing, but oh well.
Not have everything.
I guess
he really did want this to be as traditional in most senses as it could be.
I mean, if that was the case, where's the world map then?
Well, it technically is. It's more of a case where, similar to Legend of Dragoon, you travel from fixed point to fixed point.
Oh yeah, I know that, but I'm talking about like a proper Ni no Kuni style.
Remember, Pedro, apparently again that was part of the thing of saying, oh, with this new technology power, you cannot do stuff like the war map.
Well, okay, to be fair, it was only Kitase who said that, and so to Japanese developers' credit, it was only Kitase who made that stupid statement.
Is that so? What was Kitase smoking at the time? Since he seems to have gotten
Kitase. It was more of a PR statement more than anything.
It was a PR statement than anything because
to justify the decisions that they did for stuff like 13.
I mean, I've explained.
I was about to say a lot of Kitase's greatest hits come from him trying to defend 13, to my knowledge.
Well,
anyway.
I will argue it's more Toriyama who made some really boneheaded statements here and there. Well, look, Kitazi has his own share, but Toriyama was the undisputed champion at that time. Anyway, here's the save point. It works exactly like you'd expect, so no need to explain that.
That's where I seen the idea of the save point being a globalized somewhere else, but I can't forget which specific.
Cutscene.
I forgot which specific game.
Most of the game is fully voiced, but there are some minor characters who are not voiced, and the dreams are not voiced, so we'll be able to voice those.
Basically, Joe, if you forgot that these soldiers are from the faction that use magic.
Hey, what?
And yes, taking a cue from, I guess, Ang Lee's Hulk.
The artist for these was a mangaka, so they probably wanted to replicate that.
So just like Ang Lee tried to replicate a comic book, this game is trying to replicate a manga.
You alone?
I appreciate the idea, but I will argue Neo, the World Review, does this better.
Second Lieutenant Kaim Argonar, Commander, 17th Platoon, Armored
I guess
Magic
he's on
Troopers.
their side.
And recently also Megaton Musashi as well.
Also, I cannot unsee the fact that they have a Mickey Mouse logo on their armor.
Survive.
Alright, I guess we got ourselves some escorts.
See, Dweebs and Trevor even notice the fact that he doesn't have much of an armor. In the words of Duke Nukem, power armor is for pussies.
Alright, let's view the ring assembly tutorial. You can assemble the rings you need for the target ring system using ring assembly. Remember that you need components for it. So basically synthesis. Basically.
This is something that's carried over by Shadow Arts because that game sure loves accessories.
There are many different types of components. These components can be earned in battle or found in treasure chests or at stores. Again, if you've played any RPG made in Japan, you know exactly how these mechanics work. This is very, very familiar, and if you're experienced like I am, you'll feel immediately right at home. Discover what's possible in the ring assembly screen when you find new components. You will find new ring formulas. You even have synthesis formulas and everything. Again, the whole spiel. You know exactly how these things work.
Yeah, then.
No, I don't need to view this tutorial again, thank you.
But I want to know about my GF tutorial, Pedro.
No,
Wait, I missed something. Can we see that again?
These are not actually that long, and you can skip them better. The tutorials from 8 were just a pain.
yeah, they were.
Yeah, I know that. I played it. I know. I heard that Abitia fell on the battlefield.
Is it true? How did such a thing happen?
Oh no, this worried soldier is possessed, like he's speaking in two voices.
Hashtag not my problem.
Alright, okay, I'll
Go ahead, Jova.
Please excuse me for a moment. This patient needs all my attention.
Okay.
really got one arm. 2 arms.
Alright,
Jesus Christ.
let's board the armored car.
We're pulling out.
Ooh. An old-fashioned looking automobile by the looks of things.
Again, the traditional Japanese RPG, so, mix of bizarre technology,
Okay. Cutscene. And there's another immortal,
I'm sure she's not important.
Seth Balmore, voiced by Tara Strong. Yes, Tara Strong is both in Blue Dragon and in this.
No surprise.
That's Officer Seth Balmore with the 43rd Magic Division. She's like you. She got out in one piece.
Really? You two are walking miracles.
Let's recognize some of these other extras. I think one of them was Kari Walgren.
Hey,
Yes.
Awkward.
Alright. Let's go.
Again, at the moment, Kaim is not very sociable.
Kaim...
Please leave a message
yeah.
after the beep.
Yeah, right. Kaim is a character who travels all over the world here and there, but right now he's staying at Uhra, the city where a lot of the major important plot points are going to take place.
Our Midgar, so to speak.
Sure, if it helps you.
Again, when it comes to architecture, Jova, think of it more like Ravanastre from 12.
Okay.
fact, this game actually has a lot, like I said, there is a lot more in common with 12, a game that Sakaguchi did not even work on.
The Magic Republic of Uhra.
Although I see no flying space pirates.
Airships are not really a thing in this game, if I remember correctly, but we're
You
gonna
would
get
love.
pirates.
I get the feeling, Jova, you would love Skies of Arcadia. It's literally it's literally Sky Pirates, the RPG.
From a survivor, sir.
To this day, some people still debate on whether or not Styx was
Sorry,
inspired
not
by
you.
one of the characters from that series.
Hey, I'm a survivor too.
The
I'm
council
a
has only summoned
survivor.
Lieutenant Argonar.
Sorry, honey, but the console only wants. So sit down and shut up.
Well, that's just weird.
This way, Lieutenant.
Oh. Perhaps there was a connection between
No
these two.
girls
Like the-
allowed.
No girls allowed. Yeah. Don't worry, we'll figure out more stuff about what exactly is between them eventually when we get to it.
The way she holds her hands there, it's so anime, but looks so awkward frozen like that. It's like that's gotta be pain on her wrists.
It's more, yeah, because of the arm guard.
That and the fact that she's holding her wrist at a 45-degree angle.
Okay, so let's get. So the council is summoned for Kaim. So let's go to the council place.
Lieutenant Argonar, please take the central lift. The monorail is waiting up above.
Okay, let's do that.
Hey, I have a run button. Gotta go fast.
Yeah, and as you can see, Kaim is pretty fast on his feet.
Whee!
Check my spin dash.
I mean, I'll take this over what David Cage does in his games. So sure.
Yeah, me too.
Well, remember he's immortal, so you can theorize that he doesn't get tired. So.
Not just that, the Immortals do have more physical proficiency, but the intricacies of that will be explained as the game goes on.
Mm-hmm. How familiar are you with the story of this game too?
I remember the guy that I told you that had
Yeah.
Chrono Cross on Ice. He made
Yeah.
of this game and I saw that.
Yeah. Okay.
So basically I know everything that I need to. Aside, the only thing that I do know in details are the 1,000-year stories.
I also
except
saw-
from the one that you showed me.
I saw his video too. It was good.
Right now he's actually doing a great retrospective of Ultima.
What language is it in?
English.
Oh, I thought he was Italian.
No. Well, no. Well, to no. Well,
Wait,
to be
never
well,
mind. I
if
think
you
I have been mixed up with that friend from that message board you mentioned.
sure.
You
Anyway,
guys have a time real quick?
go to
Go
33.
to 33, yeah.
3306.
Okay, almost there.
And so far, there's not been a bad soundtrack so far.
Oh, trust me, it only gets better. Anyway, get ready, Dwibs, and click. Don't worry, you didn't miss anything.
Whoever we're going to meet must be
Mono
very
means
important
one,
for
and
all.
rail means rail.
Okay.
Also,
This
they
battle
apparently
turned out into our worst nightmare. Everyone was killed regardless of which side they were on.
Yeah, war crimes, am I right, fellas? It's the thing, because I did told to Pedro, I'll comment in the meantime.
Go ahead,
All
Dubs.
aboard will be departing shortly.
Very good.
Outside from still a few cases where I really still did not like it, a couple of the tracks of Blue Dragon, I actually started to enjoy them unironically, like the final boss theme.
I will say this, I unironically do love Eternity.
Oh no, definitely.
How did they even got the singer
That-
from
that-
Deep Purple? But
That being said, I
Maybe he
still
really wanted to work with
Microsoft money too. That being said, I definitely will say that I think this is the better soundtrack.
That is an interestingly shaped train they have. It's hanging, but it has
it's a
curved
monorail.
end.
It's a bit similar to the monorail system that is in Final Fantasy IX in Link Bloom.
That guy, right?
I'm guessing they're going for a bit of a steampunk vibe with
Yes,
this
sir.
town.
Yes.
The 17th division.
It's a general theme of the world, yes.
Which again makes sense. That's what Final Fantasy. Well, not to say every Final Fantasy game at the time was like that, since 9 did that little throwback, but well, you know, the 7 and 8 aesthetic was going hard for Final Fantasy at the time.
Also, like Pedro was showcasing in the initial menu, this game holds the distinction of being one of the very few Japanese RPGs to be actually fully voiced in my country's language. The only 3 cases technically, this one, Legend of Dragoon, and Final Fantasy 16 recently.
Wow, that was such a squall response there.
Again, Kaim is a good reason, however, to do this.
Trust me, like the Thousand Years of Dreams is exactly what it says, because
on the type of characterization, instead of being the angsty teenager in this case, it's a literal millennial being.
he has a tremendous amount of backstory that will reveal to us through the dreams of again his 1,000 years of life. Like I said, one of the primary theme of this story is immortality and its pros and cons. And of course, the obvious con would be that at some point you just wish your life would just be over because you're so tired of it. Microsoft Game Studios presents
Final Fantasy. Lost Odyssey.
a Mistwalker production.
Again, Joe, to this day,
Developed by Feel Plus.
a lot of people still to label this as the Final Fantasy we never got.
Character designs by Takehiko Inoue, story by Nobuo Sakaguchi,
It's like I said, this feels like Final Fantasy for Microsoft.
music by
before
Nobuo Uematsu, and the 1,000 Years of Dreams storylines that were written by that person that...
He's a famous, I think, not necessarily poet, but
yes.
Japanese
Kiyoshi Shigematsu. He's a Japanese novelist.
Yeah, so he's very proficient in actually writing actual novel. But if the video that they watched also mentions that the guy who actually translated them, which is essentially they got a separate person entirely just to translate the 1,000 years, dreams, written stuff, separated entirely from the game because they needed to actually get the flavor of what the text
That's because that's how it is in the Japanese version. But what happened with the Japanese production, Sakaguchi gave the author the basics of what the character is like and asked him to come up with interesting stories that this character has lived through in his 1,000 years of life, basically.
Can you imagine if that was sold separately as a Japanese exclusive
I
novel?
was actually about to ask that because that sounds like the makings of a Japanese tie novel, which, okay, to be fair, depends on how important it would have been to the overall narrative, so they maybe could have gotten away with that. I'm still prefer
Some
that we
things are
actually got that in the
important,
game.
others are just reinforcing the themes.
But yeah, like I said, this definitely feels like the Final Fantasy game to give to Xbox players because at this time, Final Fantasy did not.
There's also the fact that compared to Blue Dragon, the ratio between comedy and taking themselves seriously is actually more on the latter.
A new power manifested itself onto the world. With its discovery came the magic industrial revolution. This power came to be called magic energy.
What a riveting name!
I think I recognize this guy too.
Why this power? A power that
Yeah, it sounds
lay
familiar.
buried within all living creatures. Suddenly
Some
flourished
say
as
a wizard.
So, the Force, basically.
magic
Kinda.
permeates every corner of the world. It is
The magic energy is what gives an immortal its power. It surrounds us. It penetrates us.
Or maybe it's just midichlorian, who knows.
nature of war.
Either is possible. So, yeah. No,
So,
Terminator did
here,
sound
welcome to the
familiar.
console hall. So, let's listen.
Indeed. We heard that enough men were committed to cover the Wall Highlands and that most of the Kent force were
Yeah, that's
eliminated.
David Lodge.
This war was started by them. It's only right they withdraw.
We've also
Out those
lost a
eyebrows.
tremendous number of troops. After suffering such a devastating loss, if the Gohtza were to strike now,
That's, I think,
there would be
Christopher
no
Nolan's
way
name.
we could defend our country.
And there are also whispers that Gohtza was pulling strings behind the invasion.
What makes you think that the Gohtza were involved?
We have confirmed that a large amount of military hardware has been moved from Gohtza to Kent. We assume Gohtza plans to use Kent to keep things stirred up and destabilize Uhra.
Are you saying that even the meteor crash was a Gohtsan plot?
My lord, I have some disturbing information on that subject.
Please, by all means,
We
Colonel
suspect that
Sanders.
the situation at Grandstaff may have caused the meteor crash.
Grandstaff. This is not the first time.
Sorry. This is a scene from Final Fantasy X. We're looking for one for Lost Odyssey.
Essentially, that thing is controlling all of that magic, and apparently just a bit of leak what caused the meteor to drop.
Under your jurisdiction.
So it was like the main reservoir of magic.
Yeah, do you have anything to say, Gora?
Where did you get this information? Construction of Grand Staff is going smoothly.
Now that the forces of Uhra have suffered such devastating losses, I think we have no other way to protect our land except with the magic energy that Grandstaff will provide. We should hold off
That
on
doesn't
debating
sound
the pros
suspicious
and
at
cons
all.
of Grandstaff until we've thoroughly reviewed the world's current situation.
But you didn't answer my question.
What you say
Is
makes
that the
sense,
same guy who voices
but our plan
Nibbler
to
from
use magic energy
Futurama?
is a double-edged sword.
No
With all
idea.
sorts of rumors flying around, we might want to halt construction of Grandstaff.
What?
Only temporarily. Soon as it's clear that Grandstaff had nothing to do with the meteor collision, we'll resume construction immediately, Gongora.
Keep your pants on.
Sorry.
Most
I
unorthodox.
felt sad for that.
But it was really going so great! You're getting in the way of progress!
Okay, so looks like the council can quite reach an agreement, so hopefully when Kaim arrives with his report, we'll be able to certain things out.
Wow, the council not reaching an agreement on something. In other news, water is wet.
Yeah, politics, am I right?
Wait, hold on. Was that camera footage from Parliament we just got?
Alright everybody, tune in next time where we finally get to the council and we experience our first dream. See ya.
Yeah.
Fun.
Alright.